yeah, here we go.
What is going on, guys? It's been a while since I've posted a video. I have been super busy doing a bunch of projects for school and different things like that, but here we are today. Drone Racing Parts, my newest sponsor. Shout out to them. They've hooked me up with one of their frames, and I'm going to do a quick build video for you today. I'm really excited to do this because I really like the frame that they sent to me. Today we have the Drone Racing Parts Drp M5 frame, and this is a pretty sweet looking frame, so we're gonna get this going. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of build videos already, so there's not a lot of new stuff that I can bring to the table, but at the end of the day I just want to give a couple tips as I go along with this build, and hopefully it will benefit you in some way. So hey, let's get the parts out and let's get started. First thing that we want to start with here is the stuff right here. As you can see, I've already put on my standoffs onto my top plate. This is using the screws that they give you. I don't know the exact length of it right now, but I will post it on the screen if I figure it out, if anyone uses the measurements. So first of all, we're going to use these tiny screws, and we are going to use those to connect the standoffs onto the top plate. So as you can see, very simple right here. Screw goes through top of the frame, screw it in just like that, and boom, there you go. You have your top plate ready to be mounted one at this time. That's good to go. We'll put that off to the side right here. So next up, we have our mid plate with the zinc nuts. What you have to do is hammer them into the holes in the frame, and you'll be good to go. So now let's throw the arms onto this frame, just using the screws that are given. And this is what it will look like when you have mounted all four of your arms with the bottom and mid plate. Alright, next up we are going to mount our motors. We have some sweet motors from DRP. I'll give the specs in the description below. Definitely want some Loctite. That's going to keep those screws locked into the motor so they don't accidentally come out from vibrations or anything like that. When you are screwing in your motors, make sure to use a crossing pattern. And what that will allow you to do is to ensure that the motor is flat and completely flat on the plate. And this is what it looks like after the motors have been mounted. So next up, we are putting together our stack. So we're taking the longest screws, putting them through the frame, and then we are going to lock them down with the nylon lock nuts that come with the kit. Here is what it looks like with those screws and the nylon nuts. Next up, we have our power distribution board on the frame. Slap that on there. Also mentioned that we'll be switching to shorter standoffs. Here they are. I actually end up changing those again, but here's a quick look at those 20mm standoffs. I actually ended up switching to 25 at the end, and so once I threw them on, that's what it looks like. And next up, the antenna is now mounted onto this frame. I have a custom mount that I use there. Fits on very nicely. I'm using an Axii antenna. Let's throw on our ESCs now. I got Tattu 30 amp ESCs. These are great. I've been using them for a pretty long time, and I highly recommend them. So now we want to add solder to the 3 pads that are shown here. That's called tinning. We're going to tin the 3 solder pads and the wires that you also see on the ESC. I'm now soldering on my ESCs to the power distribution board. The important thing is to make sure that you also tin the power distribution board. That way you can just simply apply heat to the wire of the ESC, and then it melts right onto the proper pads that you need on the power distribution board. All right, let's wrap up our ESCs in about 1 or 2 layers of electrical tape, and once that's done, this is what it'll look like. I'm now cutting my motor wires to the proper length in order to solder them onto the ESCs, and don't forget to tin them just to make the process a lot easier. Here's my flight controller, the Matek F405. I conveniently already have my camera wires soldered on. That just goes onto the designated camera pads on the board. This changes for every board. Just take a look at the wiring diagram of your flight controller to figure out where you need to place your wires. That said, my video transmitter wires are also on here. That's one other thing that you'll just follow the wiring diagram of your flight controller to figure out where to place those on. And yeah, now I'm soldering on the signal and ground pads from each ESC onto my flight controller. Got a custom 3D printed micro camera mount that I'll throw on now. This is a Runcam Swift V2. I'll screw that into the mount. Let's solder on this XM Plus onto the flight controller and mount the antennas in the proper place. Take a quick look at the way that I mount my receiver antennas. This is pretty much just the best way to ensure the strongest RF signal at all times. TBS Unify Pro, this is a 5-volt version that I have now attached the UFL from my Axii antenna onto it. One tip that I have is put some hot glue over that UFL when you connect it to the video transmitter. I'll just ensure that the UFL is secured. Alright, so I put the top plate onto the quad. It has a GoPro mount and everything on it. This is looking fire right now. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. If you did enjoy the video, definitely give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. A big shout out to Drp for sending me all this gear. I'm really excited to get this thing in the air, and see you guys in the next video.